one of the things that's interesting is what feels like a reward in the game as a player. In a lot of games, I don't know, there's like that new art syndrome where it's the most exciting thing that can happen is when you beat this stage that you've been in for a while, and now you get to a new stage, and all of a sudden you've got, new blocks populating the world, new enemies, and that sort of thing. Yeah. In Sword and Sorcery, there is definitely that, and all the stages of the moon, the way that the art changes as you move through them is very interesting. But I also feel like the music is one of the biggest rewards in the game. It's the beginning of the year, so who knows? But I think it would be crazy if this year passes and that soundtrack isn't nominated for some sort of video game best soundtrack thing. It's really
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
it's good to hear. I mean, Jim's a phenomenal composer. Some of the songs that he offered up are just gems, like just on their own. And then we tried to build something that kind of communicated a piece of it. And in some cases, he wrote music specifically for it, and we had sort of specific requests. But then he always just, it just gets processed through his amazing brain and comes out the other side with a lot of soul and style and stuff like that. And that really is, I think, the centerpiece. Like, as much as the art is the thing you're looking at, it's really the soul and the kind of point of everything, I think, is mostly coming from what Jim's able to do on the audio side. The music's also such a huge draw, and Jim is releasing a record, so Sword and Sorcery as like a project. Part of it is the iPad, iPhone app, and then the other part is a 12-inch limited edition vinyl release, as well as a digital download. And it's the same songs from the app, but then Jim knows how to make a record, so he goes in and he expands on some of them, and he kind of finishes them in a different way. And
adds electro sax.
Right, yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's the sax in there.
There's some space sax and things like that, yeah. So it's kind of got its own soul, that LP, I feel like. And so it kind of lives next to the app, and I think it conjures up imagery that maybe you've seen in the app, but it also kind of creates other ideas and other spaces, and hopefully there's, it has its own soul and its own life.
It's incredibly good in record, in LP form. I would recommend to most people to play the game first, because I think that you might get a little bit more out of the listening to the record after you've experienced it with the because you'll not be able to help mentally picturing those experiences that you had.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm really looking forward to doing that myself. But anybody else, if you get some memories from the app, you kind of know the different areas that the music corresponds to, and you finish the app, but you still got the record on you. Yeah. So you can still kind of, remember the app, remember the experience, sort of just dream a little bit in that music. And there's actually that one song, The Ballad of the Space Babies is what it's called.
Yes.
And it's on side B of the LP, and it's the one that corresponds to the Song of Sworcery in the game.
Right.
It's when you kind of go into this sorcery kind of position, and you're able to solve these sort of musical, I guess, puzzles, that kind of thing. And it sounds really great in the game. We're using all these wonderful sounds that Jim gave us. But then you hear it on the record, and it's sort of the perfect version of all of that.
Yes.
It's this composition that uses all those sounds, but it kind of unfolds in its own way. And that, to me, is it's staggeringly beautiful. To me, it reminds me of what we did in the game and what we tried to do. But it kind of stands apart. And in that case, that song in particular, I think it stands above. I think it's just a wonderful song. And that's actually the subtitle of Jim's record. It's Jim Guthrie's Sword and Sorcery LP, also known as The Ballad of the Space Babies, because I think that was a really defining moment for the project and for Jim's contribution, and it was kind of a lot of things sort of fit into place at that moment with that song.
When I saw this game at GDC last year, it instantly hooked me. At that point I was like, it became one of my most anticipated releases, and now that I've had a chance to play through it, I feel like you guys really delivered on the promise of what you showed last year, and I hope that you guys continue to collaborate, because I really think that you guys have
Well, that's one thing about this, is that it took us this long to figure out what we were making and to actually figure out a kind of a groove that makes sense, and you know, kind of figure out what the collaboration was going to be. And now that we've done it once, we know sort of what we're doing, and we've gained a little bit of confidence, and we've got no shortage of ideas. So if we do find an audience with this on the device, then definitely we'll keep exploring it together and see where it leads.
We've gotten over the like awkward first time you sleep with someone. You know what I mean? Where you like you
Now
don't
you know
really
what
know
they
what to
like.
do and you turn the lights off and shit.
Right.
Now we're just like, you know, let's get freaky.
Next time the electro sax will be in the game.